You know, watching the Total Power, the definitive history of the Turtles documentary, which I highly recommend anybody watch. Some people might be critical, very good. I will say this. It made me want. Honestly, it's made me reminiscing. It's been 30 years since the franchise began, but for me, 25 years since I've been. Yeah, it's been 25 years. Because I can remember and recall that it was around 89 when, and syndication started to really get that, that block of Ninja Turtles, they started to get that block of Ninja Turtles episodes, sent to the various syndicated stations. And I can recall honestly that, even though my family moved a few times, that back in '89 and '90, I had recorded series. I had basically taken a VHS tape, and this is like with anybody out there. I had taken a VHS tape, and I had recorded the 2-hour block of cartoons on 2 different stations, I believe. The stations basically KTVU, KBHK, now known as KBCW, and I would record the shows. Honestly, I would record the shows. I would record the shows seemingly back to back to back. On KTVU, I think it was Chipmunks and Mario Brothers Super Show, and then on KBHK, it was Rescue Rangers and Ninja Turtles. And I still have that VHS tape, but it's in Kansas, so unfortunately I don't have it on me physically. Although I did transfer 2 of the Ninja Turtle episodes that I had on there to DVD and a DVD plus WR disc. A DVD plus RW disc, I should say. But unfortunately, that disc is not working. I don't know if it erases itself over time or what. But yeah, I became a fan, and I became a fan thanks to my older sister. She was about 13 at the time, 13 and a half, going on 14. And of course, I was going on 10 years old, so, and this was at a time when I was still a fan of Transformers Generation 1 cartoon. I was still a fan of it and still watching it. The only problem was the fact that the only problem was we as Transformer fans, all we were getting was a best of series of episodes on Saturday mornings. That's all we were getting. Sometimes we would get the miniseries split up for 5 different Saturdays. It'll be shown as a whole movie one Saturday. And sometimes it'd be the same with the actual Transformers 86 movie. They would do the same thing. They would split it up into 5 parts, or they would just show it as a whole. Edited and cleaned up and all that, though. So, yeah, we were left with that. Even though we still had Transformers toys being sold and everything, we were kind of left with that. So, Ninja Turtles, when I became a fan of that, thanks to my sister, Ninja Turtles became the alternative. Became that, alternative that took the place of Transformers when I needed something that was action-packed, something that I could really sink my teeth into, if you know what I mean. So, there was that. And I was really happy about that because I did watch the episodes. And it was around 1990. And this was at a time when me and my family, we kind of moved around a lot sometimes. Well, not a lot, but moved around because of certain situations. And for a little bit, for a time being, I believe we lived with my grandparents just for a bit, just for the time being, around 1990. It's just like a short stay and everything. You know, it was just like a short stay in 1990. So we stayed with them, and then we finally got a place on the Hayward, San Lorenzo, California border, which was Micklen Avenue. It's Micklen Avenue. So we lived over there, and that's when I was recording a lot of my shows. Again, like I said, it was just a situation we were going through and stuff. And yeah, you know, we kind of went, like I said, we were like back and forth, if you will, all and everything. But anyway, when we lived in Micklen Avenue, that's when I started recording these shows in succession. And I remember just coming home, or during the summer, I remember recording each episode of the shows that I've mentioned. And it was great. It was fun. It was great. I enjoyed it. I really did. I really did. And so basically, we ended up, so basically I ended up recording all those episodes. Not all episodes, just like a variety tape. I did this later on when I lived with my dad in Oskaloosa, Kansas. And, you know, rest is history. But I did that when I lived with him. I would record Ninja Turtles, and on the same VHS, I would have Sonic, I would have X-Men, you name it, I had it. Well, I'd even have some Cowboys of Moo Mesa, but like I say, you name it, I probably had it. Anyway, though, I recorded those, and my sister would collect the Archie version of the comics, the Archie Comics version of Ninja Turtles. And she still has those. I think she has them stored away somewhere, and she might be in time when she feels they're ready. She's either going to pass them on to her son or her grandson. Right now, they're not going to do that. She's not going to do that because I think she realizes they may not really have an appreciation for the comics. But yeah, you know, we lived on Micklen. We lived between Thomas, you know, we basically were kind of back and forth at that time, living with our grandparents and living on our own. And it was around this time in 1990 when the movie came out. And I was just getting into Ninja Turtles. Like I said, they became my alternative because of the fact that we kept, you know, all we got was like a best of situation with Transformers, which, you know, of course, being a Transformer fan, I didn't mind. But it was around this time I'd become a fan. I had become a fan and of the Ninja Turtles, and this became my alternative. And I remember when the movie came out, I was excited. In fact, I think it was during a commercial during Ninja Turtles that they actually showed the trailer for it, the actual theatrical trailer. And I was excited. My older sister was excited about it. And she took, and me and her, I think it was just us, and I think our parents were somewhere watching another movie. We went and saw Ninja Turtles. We saw it in the theaters. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And then a year later, she took me and my cousin, who's about 4 years younger than me. She took us to go see the second one. The only one I didn't see in theaters was the third one. So yeah, I did see the third one. But many, many years later, I did see the 2007 one in theaters. And I still plan to see the new one in theaters. I just don't know when. So that in itself is a bit of a problem. Anyway, though, we, I was excited basically in 1990 when it was advertised the movie was coming. Of course, my sister well, mostly her, I think, ended up getting the Archie Comics movie adaptation of the Archie Comics comic book adaptation of the movie. Because I think there was some kind of a comic shop we knew of in Hayward that we would go to, and they always had the comics we were looking for. So we went there, and I think that's where she got it. I also had some of the old original figures from the movie as well, but those disappeared. I do remember for my birthday, I finally did get some Ninja Turtle figures. I think I got Donatello, I think, and Raphael. I can't really remember. And I think I also had Bebop and Rocksteady. I do remember that. So, and I got those for my birthday. I think it was my 11th birthday or something. I ended up getting those for my 11th birthday. But yeah, I was such a fan of the Ninja Turtles. As a matter of fact, I'm looking right now, and I'm looking at a poster and a huge button of Ninja Turtle stuff related to the 1990 movie. Basically, the poster is a poster with all the characters from the movie. You have Leonardo with his hand up, holding something like a ball or something. You have Michelangelo with his arms crossed. You have Donatello going he kind of deal on the bottom. You have Raphael with his head on April's shoulder, and April, of course, is played by Judith Hong in here. And it says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it's like I said, in front of a black background. It's a poster I've had for years, and you can tell just by the fact that it's faded a little bit, and a little bit of the wear and tear that I've had it for quite a long time. Matter of fact, I've basically hung this poster up no matter where I've gone, no matter where my family's moved or I've moved to. I've hung it up, and of course I have a Ninja Turtles button that I've had since I was a kid too. It's a scene basically before they go out when they're on the farm, and it's the scene before they go out, out to do a meditation and all that, in front of the fire or sitting around that fire, or sitting around that campfire, and they're doing the meditation. It's the scene before that when Leonardo comes in and says that he's alive, kind of deal. So, yeah, it's basically that. And I have those. I have those, and I also have some VHS tapes that I bought as well. Some at Hastings, and some over at like Game Exchanges and all that. I think I have April Fool's Day's VHS. I have Planet of the Tellurids VHS, Journey to the Center of the Earth VHS, and these are all Ninja Turtle cartoons. And these are all cartoons, all episodes and specials for Ninja Turtles. I have Journey to the Center of the Earth. I have Planet of the Tellurids. I have their Easter special. I actually have them all, so that's pretty cool. Know that. To look back and know that I have those. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of fun to know that I still have those, and I can go back to them when I want to. But right now, I basically I got most of the episodes already on DVD thanks to the DVD releases. In fact, I have the entire series on DVD. That's thanks to the DVD releases. So that's good in itself. In fact, it's one of the only series that I actually completed in collection following, and that's with Tailspin following right afterwards. In volume sets. Not, complete series set, just like volume set. But again, I just really, really enjoyed being a fan. I've just really enjoyed being a fan and all that. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I have those VHS tapes. Like I said, I have April Fools. I have the Easter one with Holcomb Hare. I have the Planet of the Tellurids VHS. As well as I think it has the Return of Him on there as well. I have like I said, I have that. I have the Journey to the Center of the Earth one. So I had a lot of Ninja Turtle stuff. In fact, I think I had a 3D activity book, basically where if you put on 3D glasses, the things just pop out and they change image. It's like one of those lithographs. It was kind of like a lithograph 3D deal. It's like you turn the page and you put on the 3D glasses, and the image changes to like another image, if you know what I mean. I also had some coloring books as well. One was where the Turtles went to school and stuff. So I also had some of the junior novels, which were colored. The books basically on the junior novels were like colored right after the Turtles themselves. Like I think I had one that was orange color. It was about them in space and something like that. I gotta look it up on Google. And I think I left those either in Kansas or they're here somewhere. I don't really know. But I had those. I mean, it was just an amazing feel to have those to have that kind of Ninja Turtle related stuff. I also remember when we first rented the video game. Yeah, it was hard. I mean, I even downloaded the game on my Wii, which basically makes me currently own it. But I downloaded it on my Wii, and yeah, it's as hard as heck. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I don't think James Wolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd, Chris Bones, Angry Irate Gamer, I don't think they're joking when they say that game is freaking hard and you just need to, don't, basically my advice, don't let your frustration or anger get the best of you when you play it. So, but yeah, it's just one of those games where you're like, it frustrates you. But I do remember playing the arcade game. And I actually remember playing the actual arcade cabinet. I think I played it a couple of times. Me and my sisters and cousins and all that, we would play it a few times because we had an arcade near the beach, if you will, in Comanche Lake. It's like, here was the trailer, the family, my grandparents had kind of like this family campsite. They had a trailer and all that. We would camp outside, and some of us would sleep inside the trailer, and some of the girls would sleep in the back of the truck because it had that kind of space. So we did that where we would camp, and before we'd go to the beach or whatever, we would go to the arcade over in the Comanche area, and they had all these arcade games. They had every arcade game you could think of, almost. I think they had, of course they had, some of the newer ones like Streets of Rage. I think they had some fighting games. They had some football games. And they had Ninja Turtles. They had the new one. So we would play that, and it was fun. I remember we'd be back in Hayward sometimes at a 7-Eleven. And, of course, they would have their arcade cabinet, and we played them there. We played it there. It was a fun time. And I remember the excitement we got when it was announced that Nintendo was bringing out the arcade game on the NES. And believe me, this is from experience. This was the hardest game you could reserve, or even the hardest game you would try to be able to rent from your video store. I'm not lying. This was probably one of the hardest games you would. I'm sorry, that was our bird in the background. But again, like I said, this was one of the hardest games you could try to rent or even reserve. Because I remember a few times my parents would try to reserve the game and they would say, sorry, it's already been reserved. You got to wait another few days. So one day, when we heard it was going to be back in the next morning, we wanted to make sure we even called up that morning. I think my dad called up that morning and asked if it was in. They said, yes, it's in. And he said, well, can you hold it? So we went in there. Well, I actually it wasn't, can you hold it? It was more like they asked if it was there, and they said yes. Because I think the advice they gave, and it's advice you even have to this day, even with the mom and pop shops out there, is you always have to be early to the party to get the games if they're very, very popular, and fans want to get their hands on them and play them. Well, again, like I said, this game was so popular that the video store that we went to a lot was not Blockbuster, but it was Ultimate Video. Yeah, because we had several of those in the Bay Area. And Ultimate Video, my older sister actually worked there at one point. But the Ultimate Video was a video store that we used to rent at because it was close to where we lived. And they had video games. In fact, the video games, the NES games, were like right in front. Right, as soon as you got in there, they were right in front. And we kept checking all the time. We'd go in there. Is Ninja Turtles in there? Is Ninja Turtles the arcade game in there? Is Ninja Turtles the arcade game in there? Every chance we'd look, it wouldn't be there. And I don't know how it happened, but somehow I think we were told to come in early because one game had been returned, but they couldn't put it on the shelf until they'd run it through the system that it had indeed been returned. So, they couldn't they couldn't put it down there. But later on, of course, a lot of places like Ultimate Video, Blockbuster, and several others kind of leaned up on that rule to where when it got returned, just give them time to put it in the system and then they'll just let you rent it from there. But like I said, it was just one of those interesting situations. And, we called up because I think the store guy, the clerk or somebody, the store owner or manager said, they looked it up and they said they had a game coming back that was due to come back in that night. So, and I think it was during the summer. I think it was. I can't really recall. I know my sisters say, oh, you can recall this and that, but you can't recall other things. Weird. But I do remember we got the call, but I do remember my parents were told that, my dad was told that. And so my dad took me and my sisters, I think took me and my older sister, back the next day, and lo and behold, there was the game. It was there. And we picked it up, we rented it, we got home and we played it. Now, true, just like they've pointed out in some of the reviews, the game was very similar, but drastically changed for 8-bit system. It was drastically changed for an 8-bit system. And what I mean by drastically changed was the fact that it was 2 players, not 4. There were certain elements taken out, and it was more, like I said, they had the added advertisements in there for like Pizza Hut and stuff. So, but we did finally get to play it. And again, like I said, whether you tried to reserve it, whether you tried to find it, it was one of the hardest NES games back then when it came out to try to find and play. Try to find, rent, and play, basically. So basically, years went on, and I did collect some of the comics along with my sister. She kept most of them. Like I said, I had some Ninja Turtle items. Like I said, I had figures. I have the poster, the button. I had a Ninja Turtles, dinner tray. Yeah, it was actually a tin tray. I think I left this in Kansas too. It was a dinner tray with Ninja Turtles on it. Yeah, with the Ninja Turtles. It was a blue tray, had the Ninja Turtles on it. Weird. I had that. My parents got me the Coming Out of the Shells tour my parents got me the Coming Out of the Shells tour concert video. Went to Pizza Hut, got the Coming Out of the Shells tour audio cassette. Listened to that on the way home to see what it was like. Hey, I was a kid. Give me a break. Got that. Dressed up as Leonardo for Halloween that year because they had those rubber masks to kind of be very similar to what you saw in the movie. I was Leonardo for Halloween, and the way they did this is they took 2 green gloves that they had, and basically the middle portion of the glove would be the middle finger the 2 middle finger portions of the gloves would be the ones that would stick out. The pinky and index fingers would be tucked in. So basically, I would have my finger like that. So basically, I would squeeze my 4 fingers into both remaining finger slots, to simulate having turtle fingers. If you get my drift. So that was fun. That was actually fun. And like I said, years went on, and I can remember the excitement, because who did not get excited back in the 1990s and 80s when word would get around that your favorite weekday morning show or weekday afternoon show was going to be aired on Saturday mornings? I mean, who did not get excited? Come on, tell me, who didn't? I mean, I know I did. I was happy about it. Because back then, and this is the one thing I miss about this kind of television when it comes to animation. This is what I miss about these days. Back then, when a weekday afternoon or weekday morning cartoon became popular enough to warrant a Saturday morning slot on one of the networks, it was a big deal because it was being treated as such. It was being treated like as a big deal. It was a big deal for the fans and everything, because now you're going to get basically exclusive episodes on Saturday mornings. And that's what happened. That's what happened when they did the third season of Ninja Turtles. They took some of the episodes of the third season, boom, they put it on there. They put it on Saturday mornings. And some of them they put on the weekdays still. But there you were. And I just loved it. I really did. And I remember, and I kept watching the show on Saturday mornings as well as weekdays. And then when it went exclusively to Saturday mornings, I continuously watched it. Even when they got into the Red Sky seasons, where they were trying to, I think, emulate that darker, grittier image of the movie, the first movie, as well as that darker, grittier image that Kevin and Peter had gone with when they first started the comic. So that was actually an interesting time too. I mean, and I actually enjoyed the Red Sky seasons. I did. I thought they were good. They combined both what made the original cartoon good, back when it was lighter and more lighthearted and everything, as well as what made the movie in the original comics good as well. I remember watching those. I definitely remember when Fox had announced they were doing Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation, and I liked that one. I did. I really did. I really liked that one. It was really good. I know some people might have a problem with it and everything, especially with Venus. But you know what? I thought Venus was an interesting and actually a very good addition to the team. You know, I thought it was actually kind of interesting I thought it was intriguing and interesting that they added her to the team, because in a sense, now you're showing that perhaps there's more. You're actually showing that there is more to the Turtles than just the four of them and Splinter. Now, some say that she was brought in because they couldn't get somebody to be cast as April, but, you know, maybe that's another story for another time. But I liked the choice. I really didn't have a problem with Venus de Milo. I really didn't. Or Nepe Chi, as she was originally called. I had no problem with the character. I liked her. I really did. You know, it's just like I have no problem with Ninjara. When Ninjara came into the Archie comics, I had no problem with her. In fact, I'll be honest with you, when I started recollecting the issues, thanks to places like Mile High Comics, when I started recollecting the issues, I had no idea they had given Raphael a girlfriend. I only found this out when my mom got me a 48-page, I think it was 48 page. Yeah, it was one of the 48-page Ninja Turtle special issues, and two of the stories focused on Raphael and Ninjara. I had no idea he had a girlfriend. No idea. No idea whatsoever. I had no idea he had a girlfriend. I had no idea they did that. I had no idea. And when I found out that it was a guy by the name of Stephen Murphy that did it, along with somebody else, I was, you know, like anybody, I was kind of curious as to why. But then I realized, well, if you're going to make them teenagers, you got to at least treat them like teenagers in certain ways with certain situations. I mean, look at IDW. I think they have some kind of female lizard that's in love with Michelangelo. You know, but, you know, and again, like I said, I had no idea. But I actually liked the character. I did. I really did like the character. She was funny. She was, you know, basically what they did here is they gave Raphael someone to match his attitude, someone to keep him in line, and I liked it. I really did. I really did. What else? Oh yeah, one of the things I did get a kick out about with the Archie comics was I loved how they even talked about this. Chris Bones, the irate gamer, talks about this. They went in their own direction, and they crafted their own continuity. And that was a good thing because, yeah, you saw similarities to the cartoon and everything, but what you were getting was not just similarities to the cartoon, you were getting a mixture of the cartoon element along with that mixture of dark and grittiness is along with a little bit of comedy, you were getting that combination of dark grittiness and comedy mixed in with the design of the cartoon. That's what you were getting. And it was a great combination. It really was. It was a tremendous combination. Hold on for a second. Like I said, that was just a great combination. Because like I said, you had the grittiness, the dark tone, the comedicness, all rolled into one, along with the design of the cartoon series. Thus, it felt like you were reading a more adult, well, not more adult version, but a more mature version of the 80s, 90s cartoon series. And that was a good thing. That was a great combination. And they did things that, the cartoon series didn't do until later on. And if they did it with their own interpretations. Like they dedicated 4 issues of the main comic to Cyber Turtles, to the Cyber Samurai line. Yeah, they dedicated 4 issues to the Cyber Samurai toy line. And the story takes place in the future. In the future. And that was another thing they got established. You had different time periods. And they all played an integral part in the story. And that was great. They all played an integral part in the story. And that was great. That was tremendous. And to basically take that future storyline and say, okay, we're going to take the Cyber Samurai toy line and we're going to place it in the future. We're going to make it part of the future time period of the Ninja Turtles. And then for those 4 issues to rename it Cyber Samurai Ninja Turtles or Cyber Samurai Turtles, that was to me that was genius. It really was. Because you gave a real explanation for 4 issues as to why they were wearing the suits, why they had the samurai suits, why they, used them, and how they came about. I loved the story element of it. But when the cartoon series did it in the first season of the Red Sky seasons, which was the last 3 seasons, when they did it in the first season, the 8th season, basically the first of the Red Sky seasons, they did it in one of the second to last episode of season 8. They did it then. And, it was okay, but the way they did it, the way they interpreted it was these were basically like the Gundam suits, like the mecha suits, the Gundam suits. The only difference was you weren't sitting in a pilot's seat. You were standing up and you had these wires connected to you so that the machine would move with your movements. And I thought that was all right, but then you make it to where, basically they have to put on these, again, like I said, they have to put on these suits, and then the Saber suits just make them gigantic. That's it. Well, not gigantic, but basically the suits grow to gigantic proportions with the Ninja Turtles, like I said, just standing up in the middle of the machine with these wires connected to them, basically making the thing move with them. And yeah, that was pretty cool as well. But I'm going to say it right now. I have to favor what they did in the Archie comic books because that was more believable. That was more intriguing to me. That was more believable and more intriguing to me. And speaking of the comics, I wish they wouldn't have ended them. But they did. And for me, I'm a fan that basically, here's the truth. I have issues 27 up to, I think, about issue 70 or 71. I have to look again, but I think it's issue 70. But I have all those issues, including Ninja Turtles Mighty Mutant Animals 48-page special, the Raphael Ninja 48-page special, and I think 2 mutant animal issues, or 1 mutant animal issue, that contracts with one of the main stories lines in the Ninja Turtle comic, and vice versa. So I almost have the entire collection, almost have the entire series. I just got to get the final issue in the Moon Eye saga, which is Ninjara's farewell from the book, as well as maybe the final issues where it showcases the Ninja Turtles as kids. I gotta get the issues that precede from 28 to before, and then I'll be okay. I do have the Ninja Turtles movie adaptations, the third one that Archie Comics did. However, that's kind of like needs a lot of repair. Yeah, it's still readable, but needs a lot of repair. I have the movie adaptation of the first one from Archie Comics, so I have all that. And I do agree with Chris Brones. The comic was good. Now, one thing I don't agree with Chris Brones, the irate gamer, is he said it was declining. I don't think the decline really started until maybe we got into the 60 issues. That's what I think. I think when they started killing off main characters out of the toy line, like a Mondo Gecko and a Rayman and all that, yeah, I think that's when the thing started to decline. So, but overall, I loved the comics. I really liked them. I really did. And the one theory I've always thought of, and I know some people would argue with this to this day, is if Raphael's wife, his love interest in the future, Mezcal, is Ninjara as well. And to me, there's got to be a connection. I mean, it's too ironic that both are similar species, similar. So I got to believe there is some kind of connection somewhat. What it is, I do not know. But I know there's a connection, and a part of me feels and believes that they're the one and the same. I just really feel that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel it. And I do wish they would have continued with the Future War storyline, and I wish they would have reprinted that, or at least kind of finished it like they were planning to do a few years ago. But overall, I just really enjoyed it. I really did. And then we get to 2000s, and then after Next Mutation, I guess you could say they kind of took a break a little bit. Kind of took the Ninja Turtles out of the spotlight, kept them going with the comics and everything. There's no doubt about that. The Mirage Studio ones and all that. And I think IDW picked up on them, and Image picked up on them and, helped out there. And boy, did that cause some controversy from what I understand. The Image versions. But anyway, they kind of took them away from the limelight and just focused on the comics for a while, waiting to see if maybe there was a demand to see them come back. And of course, in the 2000s, we had the 2003 to 2009 series, which actually ran in two different versions. You had the main series that went to about 2006, 2007. Then you had Fast Forward, which was, of course, part of the same storyline. Then, of course, you had Back to the Sewers, which, again, was part of the same thing. And you know what? I enjoyed them. Fast Forward, it was all right. But everything else I enjoyed. I actually did like the fact that throughout this series, they did pay homage. They did make references to previous TMNT incarnations. Like, the original TMNT cartoon, when the April of this version disguised herself as a reporter, and instead of saying Channel 9, the little thing flips down and says Channel 6. So I like that. That was pretty cool. I really did. I did like that they finally did something that the original series had done 3 times with April. 3 or 4 times. They actually mutated her. Yeah, they finally did it. You see, in the original series, one of the things that people liked about April's character was the fact that she was the only one that always ended up getting mutated into something. She was always the only one. She got mutated into a cat in the Catwoman from Channel 6. She got turned into a fish woman. She got turned into a bug, an insect queen. I mean, what more could you do with her? And I don't know if she had a 4th one or not. And heck, you even gave her an action figure based on the Catwoman deal. What more can you say there? And then finally, after years, you're thinking, is this series going to do it? And for a while you don't think it is, and yet finally it does. In the Back to the Sewers portion of the series run, its final season, it finally does it. And how does this happen? By basically a cursed yin-yang ring, and she ends up turning into this big yin-yang monster. And I'm thinking, thank goodness they're finally doing something that's similar. It's like, why couldn't they do this earlier? But yet they didn't. And I can understand why. I will say this, I did get a kick out of Turtles Forever. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I love how they brought them all together. And I'm talking all three main portions. Will we get a sequel down the line? Who knows? Because now you got the Nickelodeon series. So who knows? But I think we kind of got a clue that we might with a certain episode. But I just really enjoyed the 2003 to 2009 run. I really did. I love the fact that it was popular enough to warrant another TMNT movie, or the TMNT movie, which a lot of people would say is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, but it's completely CGI. So, and I actually saw that in theaters, and I thought it was good. I thought it was all right. So, that I completely enjoyed. And then, like I said, the 2003 to 2009 run, I got a kick out of it. I liked it. I thought it was good. The Nickelodeon run, however, let's just say I'm one of those people that kind of, I pay attention by reading up on it. I don't watch it as much. I just pay attention on reading up on it. And why? Here's why. I just can't see this as being part of Ninja Turtles canon. Now I know they're probably using the multi-universe, different dimensions deal. I get that, that's fine. But I'm used to, just like any other fan, I'm used to the fact that every incarnation of the Turtles has always had the human characters as grown-ups. You've always had a grown-up April. You've always had a grown-up Casey. You've always had a grown-up Karai. You've always had a grown-up Irma. None of this, let's make them teenagers deal. Because I think that kind of detracts from what makes the series, from what made Ninja Turtles good. Yes, I can understand you want to start off fresh. You want to reboot it in a sense to where it seems more realistic. I get that and respect that. But still, it's just something that for a longtime fan like myself and any others out there, it's just something that kind of detracts us away from it, from actually watching it. And basically allows us to pay more attention to it by reading up on what they have done and what they're going to do. And again, it's some of the decisions of what they've done and what they're going to do that kind of detracts, longtime fans from watching it too. I mean, not only do you make April a teenager, but you make her basically half mutant, half human alien hybrid. Basically, where she's immune to mutagen, or is she? You basically take Karai, who is an established character, turn her teenager, and then recently turn her into a mutated shape-shifting snake girl that can, change into a snake and then change back to human with a little bit of the snake features. Things like that. And then you take and go in a direction that, okay, maybe it does make it realistic because this would bring in the romantic side of the fans, the Twilight portion of the fans, if you will. You make it to where Donatello has a crush on April. April somewhat knows this. And then you bring in Casey, who's also a teenager, goes to the same high school as April and Irma. And now you want to create a love triangle to where Donatello gets jealous of April being around Casey and whatnot. See, this is the kind of stuff that detracts. Because if you're a true fan of the Ninja Turtles, then historically, Casey never had anybody to compete with for April's affections. Never once. As far as I know. Never once had anybody in some of the incarnations, never had somebody competing with for April's affections. Never once. But now you have it here. So that is why, to me, this detracts certain fans like myself from watching it and only paying attention to it by reading up on it. Now, I'm not saying it's not popular. I mean, goodness sakes, it's warranting itself another season. Its figures, its toy figures and accessories are selling out in areas. In fact, I got one of my nephews asking me if we have Tiger Claw yet as a toy figure, and I haven't seen him at my store or on Amazon. Go figure. But, you know, I can understand why they're doing this, and I can respect it. It's just what they've done in certain areas with the show that just detracts people from wanting to watch it and only pay attention by reading up on it. And that's it. That's really about it. I mean, yes, I am happy that they did bring out a new movie. I'm happy about that. And the movie looks good. The movie looks really good. I know people have said, yeah, it's good, but it has its problems. I can understand that. All movies have their problems. And I'm looking at this movie, though, and I thought, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty decent. And I haven't seen it yet in theaters, but I will see it eventually. Just don't know when, but I will. So, yeah, you know, for 25 out of the 30 years of being a fan, 25 out of the 30 years of the Turtles' existence of being a fan, I don't know what else more I could say. I mean, I do collect the figures. You know, like I've mentioned earlier, I think, you know, I had some of the original Turtle figures as a kid, 2 of them anyway, I think along with Bebop and Rocksteady. I collected some of the Turtle figures when the 2003 series came out. I still have those, yet I leave them out loose because it allows my great nephew to have something, and my 11-year-old nephew and my not 11 yet, my 10-and-a-half-year-old nephew and my 7-year-old nephew something to play with when they come over. I have the movie figures from the new movie. I got those like the first night they were out. I got them the first 24 hours they were out, and I have them hanging on my wall here. I have Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, Donatello, Splinter, April, Raph in Disguise figure. I have Shredder. I have Foot Soldier. You know, I have them all, basically. So I have the figures. I have the original 1990 movie soundtrack. I have the 2007 soundtrack. I have bits. I have some songs from the Ninja Turtles 2 soundtrack from 91. I mean, I don't know what else I could say. Say approve over my 25-year history as a Ninja Turtle fan. 25 years out of the 30 years of this franchise existence. I don't know what else more I could say, folks. So, till next time, cowabunga, and to paraphrase a line from the first movie, to paraphrase a line from the first movie, and that is, God, I have loved being a Turtle fan for as long as I have, and here's to 25 more for me and 30 more for the franchise. So, let me know what you guys think down below. What is your moments? Let me know basically down below your thoughts on this, and how long have you been a fan? Take your time in listening. I know it's long, and I apologize. But until next time, God bless, take care, and I am out.